Welcome back to this Rift Let's Play. You're with Sambo, Seraphis, Tallahassee of the Storm, who seems to be meditating up the top of a very painful looking statue there. Are you alright, or are you having some kind of colon treatment that I don't know about? Good evening.
Hi, yeah, I just need to be cleaned out. Because, toxins.
I'm going to pan the I can't pan it. Oh, we can just see it. There we go. Yes, it's clearly some sort of cleansing routine from the world of Talara. Interesting. I wonder if the devs are aware of that. Now, hang on. That's not art imitating real life, is it, by the way?
How did you know?
Oh, no. Okay. We'll change the subject right about now. Good evening to Sir Clean Colon himself, Tallahassee, and a good day to everybody watching along from home. Welcome to this week's episode. And even though you might not notice it at first, we are joined today by our regular expert in all things soul trees, and yes, this has been a long time coming. You might be able to see by this name here, it is that fine upstanding gentleman. There he is, pretending to be a leafy tree. It is none other than Sir Duboir from Sydney, unfortunately, but still it is Sir Duboir all the same. Good evening, young man.
Good evening, sir. How are you going?
Not bad. Good to have you along, by the way, and thank you very much. I know, look, you're a very busy man at the moment, aren't you? You're about to go and, do some guild stuff. What are you off to do, a raid or something?
Yep, we're going into Frozen Tempest, basically, as soon as we stop filming here.
Wow, okay, so I'm kind of holding up the raid. That's good to know, Tallahassee, isn't it? Fantastic. Never mind. Look, we won't keep you too long, Dub, but as you know, we've been hanging out for you to come back here so that I can fix up my trees, my talent trees, and in fact, that's exactly what we're going to do, folks. And today, I think, Tallahassee, we're going to have a nice, really short, sharp episode. Is that right?
God, I hope so.
God, I hope so, he says. Yeah, well, do you know why I think you hope? Because I think you're going to have no rear left by the time that thing works its way. If we have a half an hour episode, it's going to end up in your throat. But anyway, enough about that. Today, hopefully, folks, just to prepare you, we're here to focus on one thing only, and that is this. If I hit the N key, here we go. You can see I've got myself 3 souls. And Dub, you emailed us earlier on in the week with a few builds. Just very quickly before we get to the exciting stuff, I already had an Elementalist and basically what I've called group heals, which is a Chloromancer. Now, I think, is it true, Dub, since we very first did these, which is a few months ago now, have these trees actually changed in that time?
It's been so long I can't remember when we did them, but yes, probably. The expansion, or the update just before the expansion, basically redid most of the trees a little bit,
right,
and some trees quite dramatically.
Right, okay. And what about Tallahassee? I mean, we know he's a warrior and that he's offensive. We knew that already. Would his tree have changed? Actually, what spec are you mainly, Tallahassee, again? Something blade? What are you?
Yeah, I'm a weird spec. It's generally, actually, let me have a look.
With your big sword.
So, Reaver, Champion, and Void Knight.
Reaver, Champion, and Void Knight. Dub, do you know off the top of your head if Tallahassee, would his spec have changed up majorly?
Little bits and pieces.
Right.
I'm not the expert on warriors, but Champion's still the AoE spec for warriors. Reaver and Void Knight are still tank specs and good tank specs. Yeah.
Always good to see you with your sword out there, Tallahassee. Thank you for that. Dub, you know what? Even though I've got this one here, I've got the Chloromancer and I've got the Elementalist, which again is what we've already had. And thanks to your update, I've now actually filled out, believe it or not, those trees. So I have 0 points remaining in my Elementalist, and I have 0 points remaining in my group heals Chloromancer. Unbelievable, I know. But what I do have is you and Tallahassee forced me to spend 4 whole platinum on a new role, and so I now have 3 roles, and this one is called a Harbinger or a Harbinger, depending on what you want to say. But the thing is, I'm in that spec right now, and I just can't help noticing that Sir Duboir here is in fact, well, are you a Harbinger as well?
Yep, I'm in my Harbinger spec.
Wow, okay, now, very, very briefly, can you please give us whoa, yeah, now look, this is the thing, you're pulling out like a sword, a scythe there. In fact, I'm just going to zoom in, there we go. It looks absolutely incredible, and even I can see I've got myself a sword, although I can't attack because I've got nothing equipped. But hang on, a Harbinger, why, I mean, we're mages, right? Why on earth do we have what looks to me to be like melee weapons? Because they don't look like staves to me, am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. So the sort of lore is that we transform our actual weapons So if you inspect me, for instance, you'll be able to see that I'm holding regular mage weapons. We magically transform our weapons into these melee weapons, and then we use our sort of magic energy to float around the battlefield and attack people. And really, it's Trion. There was a bit of an uprising, or a lot of requests from mages to have either a melee or a tank spec. A lot of us really wanted a mage tank spec, but they weren't willing to give us that. But they did give us melee.
That is awesome. All right, so what you're basically saying is that, like, by saying it's melee, you're effectively saying that this is no longer a ranged spec. So if we were fighting, I'm panning out now and having a look at you. I've got a big thing on my back like a scythe. If I wanted to attack you, literally, if I was standing here, that's no deal. Is that right? Because I'm out of melee range.
Well, we do get some ability to attack from range high up in the tree, but mainly it is a melee spec. So I'm going to attack Talon now.
Okay. Here we go. Look at this. A duel to the... Oh, my lord. Okay, so you were literally hitting him with your... Okay, hang on. All right. I think what we have to do is... Because, look, a lot of people are going to be very interested about this. In fact, we'll turn around so we can see His Royal Highness in the background there. There we go. I'm just going to pull up the tree here, now that you've given us a brief overview what this is about. Here we go. Harbinger. Okay, so I can see you've put 42 points into the Harbinger tree, a few into Chloromancer, and I presume that's just so that I can have a few backup heals, although I could probably do some feels as well. Some backup heals here, just because I'm so awesome and never die. Not. Is that a bit of a precaution for me? In other words, if you're going to have another tree, it might as well be something that's actually useful to me? Or is there a specific reason you've gone down the Chloromancer path for the second tree there?
There's sort of two reasons. Harbinger actually uses both air and life damage for its attack, so and the life damage procs the Chloro's sort of raid heals.
Yes, that's right, yep.
And so they'll always be helping Tallahassee so long as you're always attacking.
Right.
But also, the Chloro has some talents that boost your damage if you use life attacks, and so you'll actually get a bit stronger because of the Chloro. But mostly it's about the solo and the survivability of both you and Talla.
Yes, and of course we all know that my survivability is, shall we say special? Yes, okay, let's leave it at that. Now the Harbinger here, or Harbinger, depending on where in the world you're from, I can see that you've invested deeply in here. So as we said before, 42 whole points. I guess we don't have to go through every one of these particular little talents up the top here. Is there anything of significance, any highlights in this tree that you did want to point out, or are we more concerned about the abilities that are now in my hotbar?
The main thing I'll just point out is, so apart from the blade buffs, which you have a few different ones for different purposes. That later.
Yep.
But the main thing that makes Harbinger really cool to me is the buff called Eldritch Armor.
Okay, which is my tree and an Eldritch Armor. So I've got Reaper's Blade. I've put all my buffs together. You're going to be very proud of me. Oh, here we go. Eldritch Armor. Yes. Can I click it?
Yeah, great. So what it does is whenever you attack with a melee ability, it actually gives you a chance to reduce the cast time on a spell, and so that you can cast a spell that otherwise you'd have to stand still and wait to cast. But with this proc, you can keep running and keep moving and keep being a melee person, but get off your magey spells. And so Harbinger can go nicely with Chloro for sort of extra heals, which is sort of what I've done.
Yes.
But it can also go full on DPS with, a Pyromancer, for instance, and cast some big Pyromancer nukes using that proc.
Yes, of course, and they'd come in thick and fast. And it also, I noticed that it says it reduces the mana cost of that said ability by 40%. That is absolutely unbelievable. It's amazing. Like you say, if you're a good enough player and you want to be dealing out the DPS as a fire mage, like a real typical glass cannon is something you'd be turning yourself into, right? That would be, you'd have no survivability, I'd imagine, not much, but you'd be able to blast away. So hang on a minute. I've got this Eldritch Armor, so we've got that up there. What I don't understand is I've got 3 other buffs here, and one is called a Reaper's Blade, another one is called a Lightning Blade, and another one is called a Luminous Weapon. You said I've still got my normal weapons, but these are the illusionary buffs that go over the top of them. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so hang on. Am I allowed to click on Reaper's Blade here?
Go for it.
Okay, here we go. Reaper's Blade. Oh, hey, Tallahassee, hang on, let me get out of the way. Did you notice that? I've got a scythe now. Can you see that, mate? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I can see that. You already had it.
Oh, yes, actually, I didn't even check. All right, hang on. All right, so there goes Dub doing the same thing. Yep, come on. Okay, now this next one is Lightning Blade. I've got to say, that one's pretty cool. Let's have a look at your light. Hang on, are we going to compare sizes of our Lightning Blades? Do you reckon?
Yeah, mine is a little bit bigger.
Yeah, yours is a little bit bigger. And finally, I've got one here called Luminous Weapon. Tallahassee, that looks like a bit of an axe. My axe. Tallahassee, do you like this one, the blade? The Reaper's Blade, rather, the scythe? Or do you like the Lightning Blade, the glowy sword here? Or do you like the Luminous axe? What's your favourite?
I kind of like the look of the axe. I mean, Dub's one, I'm guessing because he is level 60. That one looks pretty friggin' awesome.
Yeah, it does. It's also bigger than mine, which is not surprising. All right, so Dub, in a nutshell, what's the difference between the Reaper's Blade, the Lightning Blade, and the Luminous Weapon, starting with the Reaper's Blade? What's this all about?
Well, so the Reaper's Blade is actually sort of a combination of the other two put together. So it's actually good to explain it first. So the Reaper's Blade...
That was deliberate.
Yep. Gives a proc for 2 damage. So whenever you hit the thing with a slashing attack, you get a bit of extra damage from it. It also heals you a little bit.
Oh, good.
And then if you kill somebody, it boosts your damage for about 15 seconds.
Okay, I like the sound of that. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so that's a Reaper. I can have no reason whatsoever that I can think of that I wouldn't have that one on. Why would I have this one? This is the Lightning Blade. And I guess this is all down to situation and choice, but what is a Lightning Blade? What's so special about that?
The Lightning Blade sort of does the same thing. In terms of just the damage, it doesn't do any of the healing and it doesn't do the buff, but its damage buff is enough that it's actually better DPS, overall.
Yeah, right.
So a DPS player would be running with Lightning Blade because they're not worried about healing themselves. They've got a healer.
Right, understood. Okay, fine. Well then, what is this one? Tallahassee's favourite. Here we go, the axe. And this is called a Luminous Weapon. And again, these are basically illusion spells that go over the top of our normal weapons, folks. Don't forget that. What's a Luminous Weapon all about, apart from glowing in the dark, maybe, Dub?
Yeah, so the Luminous Weapon's pure healing. So it just heals you for every slashing attack and critical hit that you do.
Okay, so basically I've got a choice of moderate DPS and heals, or DPS or heals. So that's pretty simple. I'm actually understanding this so far. Now, down on the other end of my hotbar here, though, let me say, I guess this is like the business end of things. I mean, the ones we've just gone through are kind of buffs, I guess. Now we're talking about the actual abilities, and I've got things like Blade Rush, Vorpal Slash, Storm Slash, Lucent Slash, Piercing Beam. Oh my god. So hang on, let me start with Blade Rush. What's this all about? It says it charges at the enemy. Is that like a charge, warrior charge Tallahassee, you reckon, from WoW, basically? It sounds like that.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Dub, do you know?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Oh.
We're melee now, so we need to be able to get into combat quick.
Beautiful. All right. This is so weird being a mage. All right. Next up, we've got 3 slashes. Now, Tallahassee's always wanting to go for a slash, but in Rift, I've got to make a choice by the looks of things. What's the difference between the Vorpal, the Storm, and the Lucent?
Okay, well, so the Vorpal and the Storm are both basically your single target DPS.
Right.
The Vorpal's hits heavier and it has a dot component as well, but it's on a cooldown. Right. And Storm Slash is your spam, in the absence of anything else. That's what you hit.
Yeah, right, gotcha. It's the backup. Well, then what's Lucent Slash? Is that an AoE then if it's not a target?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Lucent Slash is your AoE.
Hang on a minute. Because it's all yellow, does that mean it's life damage? Is it life damage?
It sure is.
So that's going to work in with my life-giving veil and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, because don't forget, folks, I'm a little bit chloro, I'm a little bit rock and roll. Okay, so finally here with the ones that are activated at the moment, anyway, I've got something called a piercing beam. Is that pretty much what it sounds like?
Yeah, it's a beam. It hits for a particular amount, but it also increases the damage that the enemy takes, and so that's the piercing bit, I guess.
Okay, yeah, right, okay. All right, this is, you know what, Tallahassee, you're not going to believe this, but I'm actually following along for once. Now, we're nearly done here. Don't worry, Dub, you'll be able to head off to your raid, and please give them my regards and apologies for holding you up, but you know how it is. I need you, or else I just can't play this character, especially with a new build like this. This is amazing. I can't wait. In fact, Tallahassee, once Dub's gone, let's hop out the front quickly before we go, and maybe we'll show off, see if I can have a practice on some living targets out the front there. But Dub,
we can duel.
We could duel, yes, that's true. Vengeful Shock. Now, what's this one, please, Dub?
Yeah, so that's a proc that will come up during combat.
Oh, because it's greyed out, yes.
Yeah. Basically, if you... Now, I have to remember because I never look at it. Yeah, if you attack and the enemy dodges or parries or blocks or resists one of your attacks, then that will come up as a proc and you can hit the enemy for quite a lot of damage.
Gee, there's similar skills, I think, Tallahassee in WoW again. Very interesting. Alright, so the other things I've dropped up the top of my bar here, I've got a little utility section. Dub, I've got Radiant Spores, we all know what that's about, and I presume I'm okay to be able to use those. Still drop them on something, there's no point why I shouldn't, right? Yep, okay.
Yeah, Radiant Spores aren't as good as they used to be, but they're still good.
Okay, alright, good to know. Introspection, and it says it's got no cost, it's a self-utility, causes damaging attacks to return 5% of the mage's mana, lasts 10 seconds, so that's just something, let me try it. Okay, so if I'm getting low on mana, it's just a basic mana regen for every now and then. Would that be right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, but you have to keep attacking for it to work.
Right, understood, because it returns mana. Okay, the next one I've got here is something called a Charged Blade. It also is... Well, it says it's got no cost, but it's greyed out. Why is that, and what is it?
Yeah, it's basically, as a mage, we build up charge as we attack.
Right.
So this is a separate bar on your screen.
There we are,
under health and energy.
Yep. Right.
And you'll build it up and then you use the charge on the charge blade.
Of course, hence the name, duh. Okay, and that is a buff that increases my damage by the looks of things, so that's alright. Now, what about the planar shield? It's obviously, so it says minus 50 charge plus 120 mana. Wow. What's a planar shield do? Is it just literally a shield, I guess?
Yeah, it just reduces the damage.
Okay, alright. Okay, fine. Let's see. Storm's Fury, which is... What? Just an air damage attack? Okay, so that's just a basic cast... Oh, no, it's an instant cast spell. That's okay. But that's obviously not melee, right? I mean, I can... it is melee, right?
No, that actually is, yeah. Sorry, I left that off the rotation.
Yep.
I was trying to make things simple for you.
Yeah, look, I just dropped that up the top because it was hovering around, but I'll you know me, I'll never use it anyway. Distracting slash says it's an interrupt, so I understand what that is. That's good, we always need an interrupt. And then I've got one called Glaring Fetters, which, from my understanding, Dub, is some kind of rooting ability, is that right?
It's a snare. Yeah, and it's actually a pretty cool snare. It snares them, but if they keep moving, it actually keeps doing damage to them. Whereas if they just stand still, then they don't take any damage from it.
Ow. Oh, Tallahassee, that's evil. And look, finally, what I did do at your advice, Dub, is throw that. There you go. Bit of bloom. Can't go astray for Tallahassee. You know, if he runs into trouble, at least I can attempt to heal him just a little bit. I've also got Nature's Touch and Vile Spores, which you told me to pop on there. Just a bit of a bit more damage and healing. I guess life damage for the proc for the life-giving veil, and the Nature's Touch, of course, deals a whole bunch of life damage as well, which will also proc the life-giving veil. So very, very handy there. All right, so look, Dub, that's, I've got to say, weird is the word that comes to mind. I mean, let's go and have a look at one more time, folks. If you would like to replicate this build after, well, you probably want to see it in action first, but trust me that you can trust Dub because he knows what he's talking about. 42 points into Harbinger, 16 into Chloromancer. Hopefully you can read the writing here as to how many points have gone into what particular tree ability, if you like, or what particular talent on the tree there. If you can't, let us know in the comments below, and maybe we'll put a link to this build in the description. That might be an easier way to do it. But this is, for me, a brand new character, pretty much, because this is a brand new style of play for the mage. It is melee, so that means Tallahassee, both you and I would be melee. This is going to be very interesting. Dub, as always, I'd like to firstly thank you very much for your time, and I know not only for your time tonight, but of course the time that you also spend actually coming up with these amazing builds. And I guess that's sort of an outcome of you actually playing your character, and I mean, you'd be tweaking stuff live all the time, or you testing out different builds and stuff.
Yep, and talking with the guys in the guild and always sort of trying to refine it.
Yeah, awesome. So look, this is good. So we are, at the well, at the expense of everybody else's time, we benefit from all of that. So thanks to you and everyone else. Also, by the way, my apologies to the guild. So speaking of them, you've got to run away. Now, what is this raid? If you're able to tell us very, very quickly, is it something relatively new, or has it been around since the dawn of Talara?
No, it came in with the expansion. It was the first raid that sort of became available. It's called Frozen Tempest, and you're fighting Crucia, who's seems to be sort of the main antagonist in this expansion.
Right.
She's an air dragon.
Right. I've heard of her before. So, all right, there you go, folks. This is going to... Now, have you guys done this before?
Yeah, we're still working on finishing it, but we're most of the way through the raid.
That is fantastic. Well, good luck to you. And, of course, if we hover over Dub, we can see he is level 60, and I imagine that everyone going along tonight, Dub, will also be level 60. This is a level cap thing if it's a raid, right?
Yep, that's right.
Absolutely. Well, and are you going to be... Well, what class are you on tonight? Are you actually going to be running it as your Harbinger?
No, I'm probably going to be in Archon as support, but otherwise I'll either be in Harbinger or the Chloro. I usually jump into whatever's needed.
Right, and that's one of the great things about Rift, I suppose. You're not stuck, are you? If you've got the role, then you can switch to it. In fact, you can even put those on your hotbar, right, and just switch to them if you're as long as you're out of combat. Yep. I think. Yep. So there you go, another unique differentiator for Rift. Well, Tallahassee, I don't know. I think we should let Dub go, and you and I should hop out the front maybe duel each other to the death. But good luck again, and please do say hello to everyone, Dub. Thanks for coming along, and stick with us in terms of watching the show, because I'm sure you'll have lots of advice for me as you see me completely mess this up. But you know what? I've got a funny feeling that I actually understand this one. I think you've chosen well, because it's simple enough for even an idiot like me to understand. So we shall see. So hopefully we can have you back in a few weeks' time and maybe give me some feedback.
Sure thing. I'll be watching.
There we go. In fact, look at that. I can see some messages coming through in the guild. We've got timers are ticking. You've got 30 seconds left. You know what? We better let him go. We'll be right back, folks. See you later, Dub.
See ya.
All right, here we are, folks. We are back. This is Tallahassee and Seraphis. We're out the front here, and he's running away from me like a little Sambo already. Oh, what? You've gone invisible. What the, you big girl. All right, the reason we're here, folks, is we're going to try and test out some of my abilities here. Now, Tallahassee, I need your advice. I've got the Reaper's Blade, which again is that sort of semi-DPS, semi-heals. So that's this one. I could do that. Or I can do the Luminous Weapon, which is the healing one, the totally healing one. Or do you think because it's against you, I should probably go with the Lightning Blade, which is full-on DPS? Yeah, that sounds about right, don't you reckon?
Yeah, go the depths one.
All right, here we go. Now, again, folks, I've got my Charge, my Blade Rush, I've got my 4 slashing abilities here, and then I've got some utilities up the front that increase damage, deal air damage, counting as a slashing attack. Oh, actually, that counts as a slashing attack, so I might actually move that one down my hotbar. One moment, please, caller. There we go, down to there. I've got an interrupt and a root there, a snare, and of course I've got my increased damage buff and causes damaging attacks to return a 5% of my mana as well. And then over here, of course, we've got the shield, and then we've got my 3 different weapon types, and my Eldritch armor. So that's about it. All right, let's lock that up. All right, you ready for a duel? I don't know what's going to happen here. I imagine that Tallahassee will still kick my butt. And look at that, he's going to go bloody invisible on me. Let's see if I can charge. Like, I can't charge him because he's gone. Oh, there he is. Let's charge. In we go. Oh, no, I haven't got him even selected. Good start there from Sambo. Not. All right, so oh, yes, so you can see here, this is melee versus melee. Now, I am not doing very well at all. I'm going to have a bit of a heal. Dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. You are absolutely ripping through me, sir. Oh, look at that. Totally deaded. I only got you down to 70%. That's incredible. Okay, so was I doing something wrong there, do you think? Or you're just too good?
I think initially because I had all my charges up and I did hit you with a big Skyfall, and yeah, then I just sort of ran through you with range stuff.
Okay, alright, let's try again. I'm going to go dual. This time, if I see that my health is going down too far, I will switch over to the Luminous Weapon. There we go, which of course is the healing one. So let's make sure I've got my Radiant Spores. There we go, I've got my Life-Giving Veil for my life damage. And let's see if we can find Tallahassee. Of course, he's going to leap on me out of the shadows. The Rogue Warrior, if you like. Oh, there he goes somewhere. Where is he? See, can I charge at him? Yes, I can charge at him. Alright, let's do this thing.
That stun is OP.
That is, isn't it? That's the charge stun. And of course, while he is stunned, that means I can really go to town on him. Alright, this time I think I've got the upper hand. There's not much he's going to be able to do about this, unfortunately. Unless he can self-heal. Give myself a shield. There we go. So it's going to be even harder for him now. And there goes that stun again. And I think that's going to lock him down. Yeah. All right, so it was interesting. So it's the stun, Tallahassee, that's your real weakness, right?
Yeah, because I don't really have an interrupt for it.
Right, of course. Okay, now I do have an interrupt here somewhere. Let's see if I can... There it is there. The distracting slash, which is very interesting. All right, look, I think we've got time for one more duel. That was interesting. It is 1-1. Not that this is a test of skill, because we know, of course, that Tallahassee would actually win every time. But it's just interesting because I want to test out these abilities. Must say, kind of like it. Didn't realise that when we do our Let's Play series, we're both going to be up the front meleeing. I mean, normally you're miles out in front of me. Hang on, duelist again. There we go. You're normally miles away, but now we're going to be fighting side by side. Does that worry you? Should.
Slightly.
Yeah. Oh dear. Alright, here we go. Ow. And let's see if I can do one of those charges in there and stun him again. There we go. Is that the stun that you don't like?
Yeah.
Yep, there we go. Put my shield up. Gosh, it's weird playing like this, I tell you. Look at that. He's taking hardly any damage. Now, have you switched over to a tank spec, perhaps?
No, same spec.
Okay, now I'm going to go with my healing one now, which of course is the luminous weapon. So this should be... Oh, it's not healing me that much, Tallahassee. That didn't really help me at all, to be honest. Hey, let's have a look here. Summons a blade.
It helped a bit.
Slashing attacks and successful critical hits return 27 to 30 health. So it's not exactly like miracle health, is it, that's coming back, I guess. It's just a little bit. Kind of like vile spores or something like that. Like just a little bit of a ticking heal.
But I will say, at higher levels, it'll probably end up being much, much, much more.
Yeah, actually, that's true. We're only a little yet. We're only level 44. Still got a way to go. Well, look, speaking of a way to go, we are way over time. We're only going to have a short episode this week, as usual. I'd like to thank Duboir for coming along and imparting his knowledge upon us. Without you, my good friend, we would be completely lost. And again, this is what he's created here. The Harbinger, however you'd like to say it. This is my melee... Harbinger, my melee mage now. Very weird. You know, I can't wait till next week, Tallahassee, so we can actually get out in the field proper and give it a go. It's going to be very interesting indeed. As always, of course, I'd also like to thank Tallahassee of the Storm. Thank you for showing us your colon cleansing techniques and your spider hovering techniques, and of course for providing a great big blade for me to hang off in terms of dueling. I do appreciate that very much. Also appreciate the fact that you guys joined us watching from home. Phrasing. But of course, we do need to get out of here. On behalf of myself, Sambo, Seraphis here, and Tallahassee of the Storm, so I say take care. Hope you guys are having a great week wherever you are in the world. We do look forward to seeing you next time. We will see you then, and bye-bye.